Hi everybody, I'm Catherine Stopp, the proud superintendent of this amazing school district, and I'm here to welcome you today to this day of learning, and our focus is going to be on supporting our young writers. So today's learning is going to include identifying and discussing types of texts and purposes, great teaching, writing workshop, and we're going to unpack some benchmark materials and texts. Our overall instructional focus here, and really everywhere, is to differentiate instruction that's standards-aligned, research-based, and student-centered. This year, our major focus in ELA is writing workshop, specifically the 3 types of writing. We do this within a balanced literacy framework. And when we look at this, these are all the components of writing components in the balanced literacy framework, but we're really focusing today on that independent writing workshop. So for us to get our kiddos across the finish line and for us to be on the same page, or rather in the same boat, one great thing is that we have California standards. And these standards, K-12 or PK, TK-12, actually share with us what students should know and be able to do by the end of each grade. And in the California standards, they identify 3 text types that you see here. So what I love about the way they lay out the standards is that you can see text types and purposes on the left, and then each of the grade levels are side by side, so you can see how they build on one another. So these are the 3 types of writing: opinion, informative or explanatory, and narratives. Same with grades 3, 4, and 5, all right next to each other. Here's what opinion pieces would look like in each grade: informative, explanatory, and then narratives. And that is the same all the way through to grade 12. So this first one here, information explanatory, really the purpose of this is to just teach somebody about a topic, right? Increase their knowledge. In the primary grades, it could look like a how-to, and then in the upper grades, it starts to be about a topic, and it includes subtopics. So this was taken in a Fountain Valley classroom. All of the pictures in here actually are. Anyways, I love when I walk into a classroom and I can see the books that are displayed, because I know that the teacher's likely immersing their students in that type of book during reading and then also writing that type of text. So here they're immersing and how to, so they're probably writing informational text. And that, in fact, was the case. I think this was a TK class. It might have been kinder, but this was taken last spring. And look at what these kids are writing about. I love it. How to make a popsicle, how to tie my shoes. There it is. How to build a house. How to build a house. Who doesn't need to read that one? Here's some more. How to ride my scooter. Now, I don't know what this one is, but I love the hat. And how to play Roblox. Yep. And then this one, no idea. I have no idea what this is, and I couldn't read it. But when I look at it for a while and I really study it, I'm landing on how to look like John Cusack. I think that's what this little writer was trying to communicate to us. All right. Okay, love it. Kindergarten in the spring. How to make a pizza. First, get the dough. Then, put the cheese on. Last, put the pepperoni on. This teacher displays exemplar texts to show what the final product would look like, and then they can go through and identify all of the components of that writing type. It's such a great way to have the end in mind, and it's so helpful for our writers. Informational writers gather ideas by thinking about things they can also do by themselves. So this young man was thinking about what he could do at home, outside, at school, and he can do origami, laundry. He said, I hate it, which I think is hysterical. And then he can brush his teeth. All right, so narratives. A narrative, really the purpose is to tell a story. And we use this framework oftentimes. It's a timeline, right? And it actually follows the arc of a story. So we would double talk that in the upper grades. And in the primary grades, it's appropriate to say beginning, middle, and end. And of course, they write best about things they know and love. Here's an example in 3rd and 5th grade of that same timeline or story arc. And then this teacher used this benchmark example and labeled the parts of that narrative also. Okay, opinion or argumentative. The purpose of this is to express your opinion. You make a claim or a thesis and you support it with evidence. Writers of opinion pieces gather ideas by thinking about their favorite things at school and at home, and this person put reading buddies, read alouds, art, VAPA, and it looks like they landed on more art time at school, and then they had supporting reasons and examples. Good stuff. In the primary grades, here's one: cats are the best pets in the world. Our students have opinions. In our next generation science standards, you're familiar with claim, evidence, and reasoning. And we ask our students to write a CER. And I love it when I hear them say, oh, this is the same as what we're doing in our writing workshop when we're doing opinion. Exactly. Yes, that's the point. This is across curricular areas. So here's an example of a claim or a thesis statement, and then because. And this teacher did the same thing, gave us a sample, 2 actually, and then showed us what the claim is and the reasoning. It's kind of a neat way to break it apart for our students. This is from a 5th grade science classroom. This is a peer editing sheet, and this was the question. This student already finished peer editing and they were word processing their work, and these 2 young men are doing the peer editing right then. So those are the text types and purposes that we're going to be looking at. And I guess I'd want to end with saying why. Like, why are we approaching writing instruction with these resources in this way? You know, this article is my absolute favorite, and if you don't, now you know. It's written by Carol Ann Tomlinson, and it's about teaching and learning really anything, 4 principles. Students are different. You have to know them to teach them well. Effective teachers teach up. And finally, responding to student readiness, interests, and learning profile enhances student success. I write best about things I know and love. So there you have it. Let's unpack all of this together today for our students. I hope you have an amazing day learning and growing as educators. And thank you so much for all that you do. Have a good one, everybody.